And here's a man who could probably make super middleweight himself. Looking in great shape,
if I could make cruiserweight, I'd be astonished. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm feeling great, mate. I'm really excited. You know, I think this card is really growing now in terms of excitement. And obviously, there's a lot on the line for us and all the fighters involved. And sometimes we were just talking on the DAZN stream there about, by the way, we've also got Dimitri Bivol, defended his world title in a really good fight as well. So, massive card ahead.
Well, listen, you've got a man there, Craig Richards, who ran Dimitri Bivol very close. I think people forget how close that fight was. Are you making him a heavy favourite against Willie Hutchinson?
Barry Jones just said that there, that he thinks he's a heavy favourite. I do think he's a favourite going into the fight because of the company he's mixed in. But he has lost in that company. You know, it was to Dimitri Bivol and Joshua Buatsi, really. But he's definitely boxed at a higher level than Willie Hutchinson. He's definitely been on bigger platforms and occasions than Willie Hutchinson. But when you've got the pedigree of Willie Hutchinson, you never know actually what is there to come when he's up against it. I think the defeat to Lennox Clark, you know, he's probably not a great example of his levels, but with Willie, I feel like it's always been a case of preparation, mentality. If he's got it right, he's going to be very difficult to beat. And you'd expect him to get it right on an occasion like this.
Yeah, just speaking about the Lennox Clark fight, that was the first time Willie Hutchinson, the only time in his career, he actually made super middleweight. Yeah. He's been light heavyweight before, light heavyweight after. There's an element of X factor about Willie Hutchinson. Yeah. You just never know. Yeah,
and also the build-up's been great. You're going to get some great action between these two guys at the press conference tomorrow. That's what we want. You know, we want it to mean something. And this is a really good domestic matchup. You know, it's a fight that would headline one of our respective standard cards in the UK. It's the first fight on the 5v5, so it shows you the quality of the card. And one thing we know is it's going to be very competitive because Willie's a good fighter. This isn't going to be one that's not one fight on this 5v5 will be a one-sided either way. You know, no one's going to lose every round. No one's going to get just destroyed with ease. Every matchup super competitive, and you know, obviously we back Craig to do the business.
Do you think that during the course of the week that things will change in terms of the mentality and the relationships between the two teams? I don't expect it's going to get nasty at any point, but let's be real, everybody wants to win here. Yeah, you want to win, Frank wants to win. You did great stuff yesterday. You're the best of friends now. You doubled up on your interviews. It was very entertaining, but as each day goes by, I think there's going to be a degree of separation there and a bit more of an edge.
Yeah, and you've got it really. I mean, we already saw in the media days earlier on the spite between Hrgovic and Dubois. No doubt that will spill over. Obviously, Craig and Willie nearly went at it last night. Ammo and Hamza is just a fascinating matchup. And even Deontay and Zhang, you know, slight language barrier, but they both had the same intention, which is to win by devastating knockout. So, yeah, I think, you know, the press conference tomorrow is going to be lively, the weigh-in's going to be lively. It's just a great night of boxing, you know, really so well matched. And everyone's so excited. Like, you know, the two teams are separated backstage by a big, you know, sort of boundary, and they're all sitting there chatting amongst each other. And there's a real feeling of camaraderie, and this concept's never been done before. And I think sometimes we talk about, you know, Queensberry and Matchroom, but actually it's the concept that's so compelling. Throughout the broadcast, we're going to have the points running on the, you know, on the graphics, and it will come down, really, probably to the two captains' picks. Because if Hamza wins by knockout, Deontay's going to have to win by knockout to give us a chance. If Ammo wins, they're banging trouble, and we might have to just hold on to squeak out a points win for Deontay. But it's going to go to the wire, and you know, it's a concept that's never been done before.
Let me ask you about Deontay, Eddie. You brought up Deontay Wilder there. I asked Frank the same question. You've been promoting boxing a long time, been around the sport your whole life. How often have you heard of a fighter saying that they've lost the hunger, but then you see them get it back?
Yeah, good point. Good point. You know, and I think that's, you know, I wouldn't say that it's hunger necessarily. It's just
that's what Frank said, by the way.
It's like, I think it's more of a,
it's just that
mentality,
absolute
and it's also
sharp
confidence.
Edge, isn't it?
Look, AJ, I think, lost his confidence, right? And now he's got it back. So he's a good example. He never lost his hunger. And I just think that sometimes you need those kind of nights where it doesn't go your way to just give you a kick up the backside. And I'm hoping that's what's happened to Deontay Wilder. He's talking a great game. Sometimes it's better to look into the eyes, and I get a good vibe from him. But he's still fighting the demons of the Joseph Parker fight. It was out here in Saudi Arabia. He's talking about, if I lose, this could be the end for me. Now, are you checking out, or are you putting the pressure on yourself? Hopefully the latter. But let's be honest, that fight basically is whoever chins who first, isn't it? I mean, we can talk about his hunger's back. He's had a good camp. You get hit on the chin by Zhilei Zhang, you're going to sleep. And you get hit on the chin properly by Deontay Wilder, you're also going to sleep. So someone's got to bring their pillow.
Well, let's see if there are any pillows. Do you think pillows will be needed in the featherweight fight? Ray Ford, your man there, against Nick Ball, WBA Featherweight Championship on the line. Are we going to need pillows? Is there going to be a knockout? What do you think?
You know, both guys can punch. I don't think at world level both are renowned for their punching power, but they can both crack. I mean, Ford just stopped Komatov, who's a great fighter. Nick Ball, we've seen, stop Dubois and other fighters as well. Very good fighter. I think this is going to really come down to how Nick Ball can handle the skills of Ray Ford. Like, against Komatov's very strong, very tall featherweight, and he stood and fought him for a long part of that fight. I think with Nick Ball, he'll want to keep him long, pick him off, and I think the style will suit Ray until it starts to get tough and deep. And that early rounds, you saw in the Catchell-Taylor fight last week, Josh Taylor really made the pace hot in the early parts of that fight, and just in like 6, 7, 8, it started to look like this pace was too hot for Jack. Luckily, he found the second wind. If Nick Ball can make the pace hot from early, Ray will feel it, but we've seen him carry his power and show his heart in the later rounds already. So I'll make Nick Ball a favourite in this fight. Sorry. No, I definitely don't. Well, what's going on there?
No. He's finally seen sense.
Yeah, I saw your face like that. Ray Ford a favourite in this fight, but I do really rate Nick Ball, and he's a nightmare. He's a nightmare to fight. He's going to come and come and come. And the size is difficult and awkward, especially for a Ray Vargas. How often do you fight a guy who's 5'2", 5'3"? He can really fight, but Ray is special.
I agree pretty much with everything you said there, because I think Nick does have to make sure he takes something out of Ray in the first half of the fight. The thing I do slightly worry about with Ray, and I know people are talking about it to the point where it's becoming a bit boring, is the weight. Everybody struggles to make weight in the lower weights, but you're going to stay at the weight when you've won the title. We discussed this yesterday. And also that Komatov fight wasn't that long ago. It's quite a quick turnaround.
Yeah. Well, he made, under, obviously the commission out here is the British Boxing Board of Control. They have their check weights, which is difficult for the international fighters. He made his check weight today of 129 pounds, which is 3 pounds over the limit. It's always tight for Ray Ford, right? But this camp, no stone unturned. So he's in a much better place than he was for the Komatov fight. It's always going to be hard come Friday on the scales, no doubt about that. But it's how you recover, how you perform, and a move to 130 is inevitable. But he don't want to let go of that belt. He worked very hard to get it.
Well, speaking of a man who won't want to let go of any belts, it's now been confirmed today, Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury, the rematch is on December 21st. Huge ramifications, of course, for the heavyweight division. Sure, Anthony Joshua and everyone will be watching. What are your thoughts on it, and where does AJ kind of fit into the picture for you?
Well, I mean, really, AJ he's coming, this week, and this is really off his own back. I mean, he was invited to Fury-Usyk, and obviously it's a massive fight, but he loves this concept and knows a lot of the fighters on the card. And good to see. I mean, the front runner to fight AJ next is the winner of Hrgovic Dubois, and likely to be for the world title. But at the same time, if Deontay Wilder comes and looks sensational, maybe it reignites Joshua against Wilder. So great news that the rematch is made between Usyk and Fury, because it's a huge fight. And I'm kind of glad it's December, because I think sometimes you can lock it in for October and then you get to like August and the guy's not quite ready and stuff like that. So it gives the guys enough time. We will likely fight in September, and we'll be having our eyes peeled for both of those heavyweight fights on Saturday night.
Well, when do you think that'll get confirmed, that date in September? Because the chat has been
talking
Wembley,
about a press
hasn't it?
conference, as soon as June 24th or 5th, for a press conference in London. I heard him say today in an interview. So the card's really shaping up. Myself, George and Spencer and His Excellency's brainstorming on all these tremendous fights, and AJ set to headline. We'll find out against who.
It'll be amazing to have him back at Wembley, because I remember that spell, 2017, 2018, Wembley, Cardiff, Wembley, and I was lucky enough to be at them, and as they were happening, I was thinking to myself, this is not normal. Yeah. This is absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. This will be a great homecoming.
Yeah, it will, and I've got to say as well, what you're seeing over here is also having really positive ramifications for boxing worldwide. We're seeing ticket sales increase, digital numbers increase, interactions increase, because the big fights are getting made. And the fact that His Excellency is actually bringing big-time boxing to England as part of Riyadh season just shows you how closely he listens to the fans.
and LA.
But it's like, oh, this is amazing for boxing. Oh, we'd love a big one over here. Okay, let's make it happen. There's an advert for Riyadh season before that starts again in October. So LA, August the 3rd, Wembley Stadium in September. Amazing times.
Let me just get your thoughts quickly on Dubois Hrgovic.
Yeah.
Now, Hrgovic seems to have had one of those careers where you hear so many great things, but on fight night, I guess he's only fought Zhang really at the highest level.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about Hrgovic for a long time. There's a difference between the gym and in the ring. I mean, he's always looked good in the ring. And to be fair, in the Zhang fight, he had some personal problems. His father passed away. So I just think he's a very well-schooled fighter. And this is the best time for Daniel to fight anyone because he's got that momentum off the Jarrell Miller fight. He definitely ticked some of the boxes of people who questioned his heart. But Hrgovic is a different kind of animal to Jarrell Miller. I mean, he may not be as heavy, but he's an outstanding fighter. He's got excellent fundamentals. He punches very hard. I do think he stops Daniel Dubois, but Daniel can punch. You know, he's a great fighter as well. And you've never really seen Hrgovic in with a young, explosive heavyweight. And if Daniel can actually take this fight by the horns, if he tries to box Filip Hrgovic and he gets the 1-2 down the middle, like it could go early. If he actually takes the fight to Filip Hrgovic, who knows? I mean, who knows how he's going to respond? But
he's got to start quick, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to give him tactics, by the way.
No, but I think you're right. I think he has to start quick because you can't let Hrgovic get into that kind of monster truck
and
gear
Hrgovic
that he
actually
gets
starts
into.
fast, and he's also he's a very sharp puncher early in the fight as well. You see against Dempsey McKean and against Zhang, actually that sometimes he can get a little bit sloppy and the power goes a little bit. Those first 3 or 4 rounds, if Dubois doesn't get his respect, could be an early night.
Final one, Eddie, before we let you go. I've heard you say that should you lose this, we may not see you for a long time. So you're taking it all in, making sure
you're excited about that, aren't you? I mean,
you take it all in.
I mean, I know it's all friendly, Matchroom Queensberry, but deep down, you lot would absolutely love to stuff us on Saturday night, wouldn't you?
No comment at all. Neutral broadcaster.
Unlucky, ain't gonna happen.
Eddie Hearn, thank you so much. We will see you during the week. Drop that mic.